Two keyboard shortcuts that have increased my Evernote productivity. That's what we're talking about today. Hi, this is Frank Buck, and this is the place to be if you want to get organized and make it look easy. This episode is for current Evernote users. And now, if you're not using Evernote, but you're considering it, go ahead and stick around because you just might see some things that influence your decision. If you are an Evernote user, I want to share with you a couple of things that have significantly improved my workflow. If you're using Windows, the two shortcuts I'm talking about are Ctrl Alt 1 and Ctrl Alt 7. If you're using a Mac, they are Command Option 1 and Command Option 7. So let's get into it. The power of Control Alt 1 or Command Option 1 on Mac. Think about the times that you're at your computer and you've got lots of windows open, you've got lots of tabs open, things are a mess, and you just sort of want to get back to square one. You may find yourself just closing the whole thing out and opening a fresh browser. Has that ever happened to you? Well, sometimes I feel that way in Evernote. I'm doing one thing and I want to navigate to somewhere else. What's the quickest way to get back to, from point A to get to point B? Well, for me, the equivalent of closing everything out and starting over is going back to Evernote Home and then navigating from home to where I want to go. I've often wished that there was like a button somewhere that I could just always have at hand and click, and no matter where I was, it would take me back to home. And the good news is that is exactly what Control Alt 1 does for me. Again, on Mac, Command Option 1. No matter where I am in Evernote, Control Alt 1 puts me back at Evernote Home. And here's what I see when I'm there. There's my calendar for today. It's a replica of my Google Calendar. I can link any appointment that you see on that calendar to an Evernote note. So when it's time for that event, one click summons any notes that I want to have available. Let me pause here for just a moment. If you are listening to the audio version of this, please go to the YouTube channel or to the blog post and watch the video there because you're going to see some screenshots that I think are going to be meaningful to you. Below the calendar, you see my shortcuts. Yes, those shortcuts are also in the left sidebar, but with one keyboard shortcut, I'm right back here and it's simply easier. Front and center are two notes that contain information that I want to have at my fingertips. As I scroll down the screen, one of the things that we notice about our workflow is that the information we need right now is often information we were recently working with. And so for that reason, I have a widget with recently captured information. The web clips, the images, the documents, or the audio most recently captured is but a click away. How do you keep up with the things that you order online? Well, I have found a very easy way to do that. While I'm on a website and I'm being shown the summary of my order and the confirmation code, I use the Evernote Web Clipper. That creates a note in Evernote. And just before I save that clip, I have the opportunity to designate a notebook of my choice. I have one called ETR, just simply my little shorthand for expect to receive. And this particular widget, the ETR widget, is called a filtered note widget. I have told it what needs to display in that widget. And so in this particular case, anything that is assigned to the ETR notebook shows up in Evernote Home in this little ETR widget. Continuing with the idea that the things I need now are the things that I've recently worked with, You see an entire row listing the most recent notes that I've worked on in order from left to right. The leftmost note is the note I have most recently used. Making this weekly content for you is important. So each piece of content is housed in a note within Evernote. I do my planning about that piece of content within the note. At this very moment, I'm dictating text into an Evernote note, and then later, as I'm recording the episode, this text is on the screen in front of me in a large font. Having a script keeps me on track. With one mouse click, I'm able to open a note and work on it. At a glance, you can see the content that I composed in May and in June. Now you're looking at options that I have for July and August. My theme for July is taking digital notes. My theme for August is related to back to school. To give you a day in the life example, let's say that I'm working at my desk and think of an idea to add to a particular piece of future content. I want to do the quickest and easiest thing to capture that idea so I don't forget about it and so I can get right back to work. Well, for me, that means pulling up the Evernote Quick Note, also known as the Evernote Helper. I did an entire video on this tool. I'm going to link to that video in the body of the blog post. I press Ctrl Alt H, the Evernote Quick Note appears. I key in my idea, and then when I click somewhere else on the screen, the Evernote Quick Note goes away. Later in the day, I'll return to that Evernote Quick Note and put everything where it needs to go. One of those things is going to be an idea I want to add to a piece of content. So I copy that information that's on the Evernote Quick Note. What's the easiest thing now for me to do to get it to where it needs to be? Control Alt 1, and then I scroll to the section where I see the layout for my content. The notes for each of the coming months are in front of me. I click on the post I want and paste my idea. Next, let's move on to the power of Control Alt 7, or if you're using a Mac, Command Option 7. This keyboard shortcut opens my tags list. The ability to tag notes is one of the hidden gems that all too few people are aware of. My main use for tags is to serve as a divider for notebooks. I can always access tags in the left-hand menu. However, that means scrolling down that left sidebar to the tags section, clicking the arrow to open the tag to view the subtags underneath, and then clicking on the one I desire. The keyboard shortcut, the Control Alt 7, opens that little pop-out window. You can see that I have a search window where I can type a few letters of any desired tag. What I'm looking for appears automatically. I prepared an entire episode on how I use tags, and I encourage you to view that episode. You'll find it at this address, frankbuck.org/evernote-tags. Again, frankbuck.org/evernote-tags. I'll also have this link in the body of the blog post. The Control Alt 7 shortcut instantly gives me what would be the equivalent of the folder structure someone might have in Microsoft Office or in Google Drive. Now, we've talked about Control Alt 1 and Control Alt 7. You might ask, well, what about Control Alt 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6? Well, shortcuts for those do exist. Try them out on your own, as well as Control Alt 8 or Control Alt 9. You'll see that each takes you to a certain area of Evernote, but I've not found any need for them. But for me, Control Alt 1 and Control Alt 7 are shortcuts I use daily, and they help my workflow. Little things that you use daily can be big things. And the biggest thing of all is that you have a note-taking system that works for you, one that you use regularly and one that makes your life easier. We live in an information age, but our information's only as good as our ability to put our hands on it when we need it. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Please visit the website frankbuck.org and browse the library of blog posts. This has been Frank Buck, helping you get organized and make it look easy.